Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of the Storytime Society. I'm so happy you're here. I'm so glad you're alive. Thank you for joining me on another episode. I'm your host Jamie, and this is so we're trying to do more themed episodes because I feel like the themed episodes are fun. So the theme is kind of like shitty best friends or like the worst best friends in the world, okay? So that's the theme for today. Let me know other themes that you want me to do because I'm definitely going to eventually run out at some point. Um, I'm not going to be able to think of like a million ideas, so I would love your help. It would be amazing. But let's start with the first story, shall we? Happy Monday, by the way. Love y'all. All right, the title is I just found out my best friend has been secretly dating my ex for months. Throwaway because I use my main for gaming subs and don't want this on my history. Cassie and I were together for 5 years. We started dating in high school and stayed together through college. Moved in together after graduation. I've been in love with her since before our first date. She's amazing. I still think so. We were talking about marriage and starting a family soon. And then one day, a few months ago, Cassie wanted to talk, sat me down, and said that she decided she doesn't want kids. She didn't just mean not now, but not ever. She talked a lot about overpopulation or climate change or whatever, but I was just immediately depressed. I've always wanted to be a dad. My dad was a POS, and that is something I've always wanted to do ever since I was still a kid myself. When she finished talking, I told her it was over. She started crying, and I was already crying, but F. If she doesn't want the same thing I do from the future, what else can I do? She said she's been thinking this way for years, and Corona was the last straw. I'm not going to wait around and hope that she changes her mind when she might not. So I moved out and moved in with my best friend Ryan. We've been friends forever. Like we bonded over Pokemon cards at the playground kind of thing. He's basically my brother and his mom was my extra mom since I didn't have much at home growing up. I was in a hurry to move out, so I didn't take much stuff with me. And then I didn't want to go back to the apartment and see Cassie, so Ryan was doing the good friend thing and going to get the stuff for me whenever I needed it. At least that's what I thought he was doing. Yesterday would have been me and Cassie's 6th anniversary, and it was really rough for me. So I told Ryan I didn't want to be alone and wanted to hang out and game all day with him. He agreed and everything, but he was kind of distracted on his phone a lot. And after a couple of hours, he said something came up and he just left there alone. And he just left me there alone. Shit got dark. I'm not ashamed to say that I cried. There were reasons I didn't want to be alone that day. Almost midnight last night, Ryan finally came home and was acting weird, so I asked what was up. I thought maybe his mom was sick or something. She's a teacher at school that just reopened. But no, Ryan sits me down and tells me that he's moving out. He's been secretly dating Cassie since a few weeks after we split. He says they're in love already and that she needs him more than I do. So he's moving into the apartment with her and leaving me here alone to rot. I don't even know how the F to process this. I don't know which one of them has broken me more. To make things worse, I messaged some of our other friends this morning to tell them what was up, and they already knew. When I got upset, all they said that it was no big deal because I'm the one who broke up with Cassie. Where do I even go from here? I can't talk to my friends. My ex broke my heart. My best friend stomped on it, and the closest thing I have to family is gone because they were his family too. I'm lost, and I don't know where else to turn. Update, bigger shit to worry about than my broken heart, I guess. Ryan texted me. I'm about to be homeless in a pandemic. Update 2. Thanks so much to everyone for reaching out. My inbox is blowing up, but I'm kind of focused on this housing thing first. I'll catch up when I can. The first thing that I have to say is literally drop your friends because who the F? It's crazy when people, to me, it's crazy because I know that the way that people give advice or like feedback saying, it's no big deal, blah, 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 you're the one who broke up. How about if that happened to you, how would you feel? Because I know damn well that you would not appreciate if your best friend started dating your ex, no matter how long you guys have been broken up. Like, that's just best friend code. You don't date your ex because, like, you don't date your best friend's ex. Like, that's just never going to work out. It's never going to be a thing. Yeah, no. Like, it's so crazy to me that people don't think about it. Like, they genuinely talk out of their ass and they don't think about it from if they were in that situation. they don't think about it from that perspective. They just think, I don't even know what they think. Like, they're dumb. It doesn't make sense to me how people don't, like, recognize that they wouldn't appreciate being in that situation. So why do they feel like they have the right to say, it's not a big deal? Like, come on, you broke up with her. So I broke up with my ex, and would I want any of my best friends dating him? No. What? That'd be so weird, actually. And immediately our friendship would be over and I would never forgive them. So, like, the friendship would be over forever. And I know for a fact that none of my friends would be like, oh, it's fine. You broke up with him. So, like, why is it a big deal? I don't know. Maybe it's because they're guys and they don't think of it like girls do. But that's weird. All right. So, some of the top comments based on your edit. Dude, I'm so sorry. I wish I had advice, but I don't. All I can say is I'm sorry. The fact that I can give you OP is that this is clearly a deep rut in your life that you cannot change. What you do have control over is how hard you come back into society. Deeply think about yourself before anyone. Not trying to sound narcissistic here, just self-development. And don't let anyone ever get in your way or make you feel like that again. It's only up from here. To stay positive. Easier said than done. It will be a challenge, but that's how you become your strongest self. It's kind of hard to even focus on that, honestly, like on self-development when you're about to be homeless. That's all I have to say is, like, yeah, all that sounds great and it's only up from here, but like he kind of has to figure out how he's not going to be homeless first, because that's really sad and scary. That's a really scary situation to be in. Based on your edit, like others have said, you should focus on getting your housing situation sorted. Far away from these people, block them from your phone, and focus on getting a place to live. Right now, you are pretty wounded and you need to recoup and heal. Stay away from them. Tend to your wounds. Treat yourself as something you care deeply about, because these assholes aren't doing it for you. Take it one day at a time. For me, it's like, I mean, I can't really, I don't know. If someone were in this situation and I had to give them advice about like finding a living situation, I feel like I can't really say, because I've never been in this situation of like, well, I kind of actually have. When me and my best friend in college, we ended our friendship, and she was, I was like, we were living together and I was contributing to rent, but like, not a lot, because she was super wealthy. Her family was really well off, and she wanted to live in this really nice apartment building, and I was okay with that. There was kind of a, I don't know. So anyways, I don't need to explain that part, but anyways, we moved into this really nice apartment building right next to our college. It was really nice because we just walked across the street and we were at our college, and it was basically like living on campus, but it was like a super nice high-rise apartment. And I think the rent was probably 2000, and mind you, this is in like 2017 or 2018. So that was expensive as hell for rent back then. Like, now that's normal here, but honestly that's on the cheap side. But yeah, so I think I paid like 450 and I didn't pay for really anything else. And I'm very grateful for that. Like, so grateful for that. So like, obviously I don't blame her at all, but we just had a falling out, and she was like, I'm moving out. So obviously, like, you also have to move out because you can't afford to live here. But so that kind of like literally shat on me so hard that day, because I was like, at that point, we were kind of each other's only friends. I did have like some other friends, but that's kind of how I ended up getting really close to my other friend, because I FaceTimed her that day and I was like, I don't know what the fuck I'm going to do. Like, I wasn't expecting anything out of her. I just needed someone to vent to. And I was just like, I don't know what I'm going to do. Like, I literally don't have anywhere else to go. I don't know who I'm going to live with, how I'm going to afford to live. Like, I can't afford to share like half of the rent, you know? Like, she was like, my roommate was really helping me in that situation. And I will forever be grateful for her family for doing that. But yeah, I was like, I don't know what to do. Like, I can't pay $1,000 for rent. I can't even barely pay $450 for rent. So, but then, yeah, I ended up moving in to her apartment with her sister while she was gone for an internship for a few months. And then me and her sister ended up getting 2 other roommates and moving out into a different apartment, a 4-bedroom with a bunch of roommates, and so that was really nice. And the way we found roommates was there's like a South Florida roommate group, and we would just post on there. And I lived there for about 4 years, and every year if one person would move out, I was pretty much like the head of the house because I had been the one that lived there since the beginning, and I'm the one who like figured everything out with our landlord and found new roommates each year. If someone would move out, I would find someone new. If 2 people would move out, I'd find 2 new people to move in. Like I was always in charge of that. And honestly, it did suck at times because it felt like I was always like, it felt like I was doing all of this, but like I don't know. It kind of sucked to always be in charge of that, but that's neither here nor there. Anyways, yeah. So that's how I always found roommates. I would basically just like, we would usually get a bunch of messages and then I would kind of vet them and like go through like which one would be the most normal. Also like have them come over and see the place, meet them. There would be a couple times where I never even met them, but I kind of just like trusted and looked at their social media and trusted that they weren't crazy. We definitely had some like, honestly, I could go a little bit crazy with some roommate stories because there were some crazy situations with roommates that, I mean, I was definitely really young, so I'm not going to say I didn't contribute to it because I definitely was a little bit more of a bitch back then, like when I was young, and I kind of thought, I feel like I didn't think I was hot shit, but like, I don't know. If people were annoying, I would be like, hey, you're really being annoying, so can you like turn down your music? And then I feel like that kind of ended up building tension between roommates. Like I was always the one that would be like, I'm starting a cleaning schedule, you know what I mean? And usually like the person that's kind of like in charge or like starting these kinds of things, I feel like people build resentment against because they're like, oh my god, you're so bossy, but it's really just like, I don't want to live in a fucking shit house in a pigsty. So I would like start these things so that the living order would be better and everyone would contribute to cleaning the common spaces. And like, also, can you please not have your music on fucking with subwoofers in your room, please, at 11 p.m. Because I have so many videos of this one of my roommates one year, and we had a really bad falling out, which I don't even remember why. I think we kind of just started not liking each other. She was like, she would be really crazy and texting the group chat really crazy stuff all the time. So then I ended up sticking up for myself and other people that were living with us. And then it ended up that like this whole stupid situation is honestly so dumb. But we ended up like having a big falling out, and yeah, she was actually crazy. She would probably say the same thing about me, but I was not. Like I seriously don't think I was in the wrong in this situation at all. And I still don't. And it's been like 5 years since that happened, and I still feel like, or 4 years maybe, and I still don't feel like I'm in the wrong. And I don't know, whatever. We're gonna move on to the next story because I'm kind of getting off topic, but I just felt like I needed to say that. I really need to just do a podcast one day of just me like telling a bunch of stories, but I just need to take notes on which stories I want to tell because I can never just like think of it off the top of my head. Like that made me think of it because I'm reading this, but like I wouldn't be able to think about the fact that I wanted to tell you guys that story. You know what I mean? Okay, the next title. My boyfriend has fallen for my best friend. The title is pretty self-explanatory. My 25 female boyfriend, 26 male, has fallen for my best friend, 24 female. A little backstory, this year will be mine and my boyfriend's 8-year anniversary. We live together and we planned on getting engaged soon. Before we were dating, we were and still are in the same friend group, and so is my best friend. They've been friends for ages as well. They hang out sometimes, going to the cinema to watch specific movies I'm not interested in, or watching football together, but most of the time we'll hang out with our entire friend group at one of our homes, eating dinner together or having drinks. For a few months now, my boyfriend has been acting kind of strange, and after multiple times of me asking him if everything's all right, he finally sat me down to talk. He told me he has fallen for my best friend and that he doesn't know what to do. He says he's still very much in love with me, and he's sure that it's just a crush that'll pass. He even considered not telling me and just waiting it out, but he says it's been 4 months now and it's not over. When he told me this, it felt like my heart stopped and the ground got knocked down under my feet. I'm sure my best friend has no idea that this is going on, and he's assured me that nothing has happened between them. I believe him, as she's engaged to her boyfriend of 4 years and seems perfectly happy, and I trust her with my life. I honestly don't know what to do, and neither does he. I don't know if I want to continue this relationship when he's got a crush on another girl and not just any girl. The worst part is I can see why it happened. They've got similar interests, specifically interests that I don't share. They both have a parent that passed away due to a disease, and they have really good talks about their situations. And generally, she's just a really nice and beautiful person. I don't blame her, but since he's told me, I can't help but feel jealous and bitter. He doesn't want to tell her about this, as to not mess up the friendship and the dynamic of the group. My boyfriend and her fiance are really good friends as well. But I feel like I would need to tell her, especially if we ended up breaking up over this. I just don't know what to do. Any advice is welcome. Should we continue this relationship? Do you think it's worth it to try and get over this? And should we tell her about his feelings? Please help. I don't know if this is going to be a hot take or not, but like, in my opinion, I feel like it was selfish to tell her that, because now you're saying you don't want to tell anyone about this, but then you're telling her and like making her bear the weight that you were bearing. And it's also like, if you don't want to do anything about it, then why are you telling her? Because now that's just putting so much stress on her. Like, oh, my boyfriend has a crush on my best friend. And then also, like, he doesn't want to tell her, which I obviously want to tell her she's my best friend. And then, like, if I tell her, she's obviously going to tell her fiance. And then that's going to create a weird dynamic between the fiance and my boyfriend. The whole group's going to fall apart. And now it's like her consequence to bear when she shouldn't have to be bearing that and like bearing that weight on her shoulders. Like, he should have been, I don't know, for me it's like, how about you figure it out first in your head, and then like, yeah, okay, it's been 4 months and you're still not over it. First of all, stop hanging out with her then, maybe. Stop individually hanging out with her so that you stop having feelings for her. Maybe a little bit more, I don't know, like maybe you still would have feelings for her, but maybe you should take actions to try not to have feelings for her. And then, like, also, how about you be man enough? And no, I don't want to say that. I hate that. I don't want to be that person, the man enough thing. Like, no. But, like, mature enough and emotionally intelligent enough to be like, I should figure this out myself first before I drop this bomb on someone else when I don't even know what the solution is. You know? Because then you're just, like, putting all the stress on another person. It's like, yeah, that sucks for you because you don't know what to do. But like, how about you figure out if you want to stay together with your girlfriend, and if you think you cannot work through that crush and you really think that you can't get over it, then it would be probably the best thing to do to break up with your girlfriend and not like put that whole weight on her. Does that make sense? I just feel like it's being a little selfish because now it's like her responsibility to figure out if she wants to break up with him, when in reality, like, he should be the one figuring out if they should be together or not, because he's the one that's dealing with this internal conflict in his head. And then, yeah, whatever. So annoying. Okay. Some of the comments: falling for someone and having a small crush are completely different. The situation is so different because he knows her very well. She's not some random pretty coworker that he knows nothing of past the surface. If my boyfriend told me that he has fallen for my best friend, we would have a problem. He's been feeling this way for 4 months and didn't take the initiative to distance himself those months ago. It makes me wonder if they've spent time together alone within the past 4 months. OP says that they have, and I don't fully believe that he hasn't tested the waters at least once. And did he minimize his time with her alone over the last month or so? If not, then he really did not try to wait it out. Sorry, he dumped this on you. Yes, it'll happen again. You may even end up with a crush on our coworker in the future, and that's why a relationship is a commitment. Very true. Because, like, obviously you're going to have crushes, but, like, not crushes, but you're going to be like, oh, this guy's cute and this guy's nice, or, like, this girl's cute and this girl's nice. Like, but then you recognize that and you don't let it get any further. Otherwise, you'll never be able to be in a committed relationship, because that's most likely going to happen a lot of times. There's amazing people in the world. There's a lot of amazing people in the world, and there's a lot of amazing people that you're going to meet. And if you can't like recognize that boundary and set that boundary with someone, then it's never going to work out for you, because you're just going to end up breaking up with this person for this person and this person for this person. And that's why you have to decide to commit to the person that you love, and if a relationship is worth it for you. And if it's not, then you can go and explore all these relationships with all these different people. But I can see this working out only if he is fully willing to decrease his visits and talks with her by a large margin, cutting contact completely almost even. Yeah, but this is his responsibility to figure out. Like, he needs to be coming up with this solution, and then coming to his girlfriend and being like, hey, I think this and this and this is what I'll do to work on it. And if if things don't get better, you can break up with me, or like if you even want to give me another chance. This is his responsibility. It's not her responsibility. Intent is everything. If he still loves you and wants to work things out with you, he'd be willing to set a boundary and not involve himself with her alone until sometime in the future. I don't know, me personally, I don't think I'd be able to trust him to not develop feelings for anyone else, considering he was able to do it with this friend. But if he's willing, it may be worth the chance, so long as he sets the boundary firmly. See, this is the kind of shit that makes me so scared, because I just feel like a lot of guys aren't emotionally intelligent enough to separate these kinds of things from your relationship, and then they're gonna let it like get to them so much to the point where they're gonna like end up cheating. And this just prove no, I'm not gonna say that. For me, it's like, can guys be friends with girls? I've always wondered, can guys really be friends with girls? Because like time and time again things like this happen, and it just proves to me that like I don't think so. So it's like, especially not close friends. Maybe friends like, that you see in a group and they're hanging out in a group here and there. But like a friend, a true friend, a close friend that they can go see movies, they can go watch football together, they can do this and this and this together alone and do these activities like that kind of seem like a date, but they're not because they're just friends. Those kinds of things. It's like this just kind of, it gets in my head. And then this is the kind of thing that makes me like sick to my stomach when, like, if my boyfriend were to get close, super close with a girl, like, I don't know. And it's not that I don't trust him specifically. It's just like the male species, they are so, in a way, simple and truly kind of black and white, honestly, if I'm being so honest. Oh my God, maybe that sounds bad, but like kind of one thing applies to all for men is, I don't know. In my time living on this earth, I have learned that a lot of men are like in the way that they think, and maybe some are smart enough to not act on these desires or these things that they're thinking in their head, but a lot of men think the same thing. Even if they say they don't, I don't know. I just feel like there's just very minimal men that don't act this way. I don't know. I don't know if that makes sense, and if I'm even saying that right. I'm trying to be the most respectful about it possible, but I'm probably not being respectful at all. It's just like, yeah, I don't know. I've gone through situations with guys, and also just like dating guys and having things with guys and situationships with guys and hooking up with guys and stuff. Like, I feel like I've learned a solid amount of information about guys and the way that they think, and it's all very similar. Like, yeah, they're very different individually, but like a lot of the ways that they think is very similar, even if it's like a completely different prototype. Because I haven't like seriously dated, but like I've definitely talked to and like, I don't know, had situationships and hung out with like on multiple occasions, gone on dates with and stuff. Kind of dating, I guess, if you're going to use like the 80s term, with a lot of different types of guys, like the jockey, the super popular guy, the not so popular guy. I don't know. There's a lot of different types of people. I hate to like say categorize them like that. That sounds like I'm literally playing like a dollhouse, but you know what I mean. And I feel like a lot of them are just there's so many similarities. Just as we as women, we also have a lot of similarities. Like we have the same, hormones. So like, yeah, we probably experience a lot of the same emotions, but in different ways. And I don't know. Am I making sense? You get me. Anyways, let's move on to the next story. My female 29 best friend, female 29, tried to sabotage my marriage, and I don't know why. So I, 29, met my best friend Sarah, 29, and husband, 31, when I was 11. I just moved to a new country with my family, and my now sister-in-law introduced me to Sarah, 29. Now that we're adults, we share some friends, but we each have different groups to do things with. So usually, I'm working in the office from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m., and I have a 30-minute break that I usually take to have second breakfast, and sometimes I go to my husband's office. It's a 5-minute walk, or a cafe near my job. Sometimes I have to work out of my office or go to another city. Every now and then I mention to Sarah if I have to travel for work during the week in casual conversations. Last week I had to travel for work on Wednesday, but Tuesday night there was a red alert about the weather the next day, so my work thing was canceled and I stayed home with my 2-year-old. My husband went out at 6 a.m. to make sure his business was closed and put up some flood protection. At 7:30 a.m. he was back home and making breakfast. It didn't start raining until 1. At 3 p.m., Sarah sent me a message asking if I was at home already because it was flooding where I was traveling, and I just texted back, I'm home safe. We literally didn't go out until Friday. Saturday, Sarah and I go to the same gym class. She told me that we needed to talk in private. So we went to my car and she told me basically on Wednesday I saw your husband with a woman and they were making out and your kid was in the car. I was frozen for a bit. Then I remembered that I was working from home with my husband and my baby for 2 days. I realized that she was lying, but I didn't understand anything. I asked 3 times if she was sure it was this week's Wednesday, and she confirmed it 3 times. I asked her about the time, and she said about 11 a.m. I asked if it was during the red alert, and she said yes. I asked her if she was 100% sure, and she launched a whole description of my husband making out with a gorgeous Barbie look-alike blondie girl in his car in front of our kid near his office during the red alert. So he was putting my son at risk and cheating in front of him. I told her my work thing was suspended because of the red alert and we were both home the whole time it was activated. She tried to say she got confused with the days, but she confirmed it 3 times. I told her to leave and she left running. I went home and did the whole betrayed spouse house search. There was no hidden phone. I have all the passwords to every device in this house. Not a lack of trust. It's because I manage part of his business and he's bad with passwords. Even looked after hidden emails, and the only thing that he was hiding was his paranormal podcast he listens to sometimes. That night, I told my husband what was going on, and he denied ever cheating and, even worse, disrespecting his own son in that way. I believe him 100%. There wasn't a change in his behavior or routine. He gave up his phone right away, and I told him I already checked everything in our house, and he told me to check his car then. We decided to call Sarah together. She picked up the third call, and she was crying. I told her to just tell me why she lied. She swore she wasn't lying, but told me that she got confused with Monday. I told her Monday our son was in daycare and we had breakfast during my break, so at what time did my husband went to take our son out of daycare, go to pick up this girl to make out in front of my baby, and then back to the daycare for me to pick him up and then have breakfast with me. She cried more and told me she didn't know, so my husband told her to cut the shit if she had at least a bit of decency and tell us why she was lying. She said she was sorry and hung up and then had the audacity to block us. I told the friends we had in common with her, and everyone is mad and can't explain what happened to her. She is not picking up the phone, but sent a message back saying that she was sick. Some of them asked her why she was lying, and then she blocked them. Someone even called her mom, and she is just as shocked. Nobody understands what's going on. I thought maybe it was a crush, but my husband never liked her that much, so he didn't pay attention to her. She isn't even added to his socials because she never liked her when Sarah was his sister's friend or when she became my friend too. They don't interact unless it's necessary to say she got a crush so big she thought it was worth it to try to break my family up. I do know that sometimes she gossips a little too much or sometimes she talks about things she shouldn't, but I never thought it would develop into something this big. I had this girl at my side for really hard moments. I had her back when she needed me. She was one of the first persons I told about my wedding and pregnancy. I loved this girl since we were little. I just don't understand, and she's not talking to anyone. Girl, if you're gonna make something up, why don't you do it when no, not me giving advice to the girl that's lying, but like, why wouldn't you do it when you know if you actually saw her husband out and about when she wasn't with her husband? Like, why are you just gonna make up something out of thin fucking air and just expect it to like stick? I don't understand that. Like, girl, it ain't pasta. Calm down. I'm actually so confused about that. I mean, first of all, not me focusing on that, like, but seriously, you're so dumb for that. And second of all, like, what? I don't really understand. I mean, maybe she's jealous and they have like a good marriage and they have a like perfect family, and I don't know, she's like jealous and just wanted to break them up so she could have a friend that was single with her. I don't know if she's single though, so I'm assuming. Okay, we're going to read the update because there is an update. My best friend tried to sabotage my marriage, and I don't know why. Update. So I got the truth finally, and it was far more stupid than I thought. So Sarah's mom told me to come over to her house for a conversation with Sarah and to bring a friend as a buffer. I went for closure. She apologized a lot, but I literally had to interrogate her to give me reasons and finally got them. She lied because she was mad that I missed our girls' trip, 5-girl group, for the second time. Once because I had a 2-month-old baby, and this year because I had to work during August and it was the only month everyone else was free. I traded my vacations for December plus extra days they owed me, so I will be out of the country from December to January 10th and miss her birthday in December and other winter activities in January. Her reasoning was that if I thought my husband cheated, she was sure I would leave, but he wouldn't let me take my son abroad for too long without him, so I would be forced to stay, but would be able to travel during my husband's custody time. She was just being mean and selfish because of the trip that I missed and a birthday. She thought it would be okay to break my son's family so she can have all her friends for attention. I told her to never contact me again and to avoid me everywhere. My friends are aware to not invite me to things if she's going to be there, but everyone is mad at her, so she's the one not being invited. This is painful as hell. I would have been able to forgive and work on things if she was just having mental health issues or drug problems. I actually sent her mother recommendations for mental health professionals during the week. Almost 20 years of friendship to the drain. I treat my closest friends like family because a part of my husband's family, I only have my sister in this country. I make time for them, pay attention, and help them when I can. I thought she wanted the best for me as much as I wanted the best for her, but lesson learned, I guess. That's insane. Not you trying to break up a whole ass family, not only just a family, but your best friend's family, just so she can go on vacation with you. Huh? Girl, maybe you do need mental professional help because that sounds like you might get a little something going up here. You got a screw loose up there, girl. All right, let's read some comments. She wants you to be single, so you're free to hang out with her. 2, she wants your husband to be free. Why, though? 3, she wanted to stir up drama. And 4, she was mistaken regardless of her reason. She's not a good friend, and you're right to distance yourself from her. I'm assuming like most of these comments are from before she updated, but perhaps the feeling regarding your husband is mutual and she was trying to drive him away. Is she single? Did she go through a breakup or something along those lines recently? Sometimes when that happens to people, they try to make their friends single so they don't feel bad/jealous. It's awful, but it happens. You need to cut this person from your life. I mean, I understand that because, okay, don't hear me out. Don't just listen to me, okay? I understand the feeling of like going through a breakup and then like seeing your friend is super in a happy relationship and like especially when it's a fresh breakup, like for me, but let me just say this, but I obviously don't fucking think that it's right to selfishly try to end that person's friendship or relationship, especially this kind of relationship, but point blank period, any relationship. But like, cause not but, just that's period, whatever. I was just gonna say, like, just because this made me think of something that when I was going through my breakup, really terrible. I literally wanted to myself. Sorry, that's not funny. But I didn't distance myself. I was really going through it. Like when you go through a breakup and it's like a tough one and it's not one that like you've been waiting to finally get out of, because that was my first breakup. Like I was waiting to get out of that for years, and finally when I got out of it I was like, oh my god, a weight off my chest, thank god I'm out. But this one was like unexpected, ended so suddenly, like very much wasn't expecting it. Loved him so much. Had the hardest time. Was not in a good mental state previous to even ending that relationship. So like this definitely made my mental state go even farther downhill. But like I had a friend that recently had gotten into a relationship and they were like in their honeymoon phase. And so like I think we went to dinner together or something, or I think we went to dinner together, all of us, and like it was fine, but I was literally fresh out of my relationship and feeling the worst I've ever felt. And like when you're in a relationship or when you're going through a breakup like that, like genuinely your whole world, your whole thoughts, everything revolves around you going through that breakup. And I hate to say it, like I'm not like a selfish person, but that's just kind of the truth of it. Like that's just the fact of the matter. And that was my world at that time. Like that's all I could think about. I was genuinely so depressed. I couldn't eat, I couldn't sleep, I couldn't think. I was I felt like I needed to check myself in and get a grippy sock vacation, honestly. And so I kind of like after that dinner, I was like, okay, a I'm not a happy, positive person right now around people in serious, happy relationships. And I don't want to like put that on that person and their relationship. Like, I don't want to make it their problem, but like, I'm having an issue with this. And like, I believe that that is a valid feeling. And like, if I'm feeling that way, I can't really force myself to not feel that way. So let me just like not hang out with them as a couple because that's like really hurting me right now. And like, obviously in the future, I'll be able to hang out with them as a couple when I'm a little bit more healed. But right now, it's just like not the best thing for me because it makes me want to myself even more. And I didn't want to put that on them because that's obviously not their fault that they're in a happy relationship and I'm happy for them. But it's just like that situation is just not, I was trying to do things for me so that I could like heal and not break apart even more. And yeah, so I chose the non selfish route and kind of just didn't, if she was like, hey, want to do this with me and her boyfriend, I would say I was busy. Or like, sorry, I can't, you know? And obviously, yeah, that sucks because she's still my friend and I want to hang out with her, but I just didn't want to hang out with her boyfriend because it just wasn't healthy for me. So we didn't for a while. But then, anyways, we got in a really big fight because I was actually was kind of crazy. I still feel like, I don't know. I don't know. I still feel like I wasn't in the wrong for this because I don't know. I guess this is just like I'm how I feel like I don't know. What am I fucking saying? Shut up. I am gonna explain the situation that I was in. That's the end of the story time, by the way. I'm about to just explain the situation. So if you want to listen, you can listen. But if you don't, then you can exit out. Anyways, I'm just gonna explain this fight that I got into when I was going through a breakup, and I was going out a lot. I had been going out for a few months every weekend. It was taking my mind off things. It was really fun for me. I was going out sometimes on weekdays. Yeah, one could say maybe it was a problem, but it helped me. It did help me. But I was also doing a lot of other things like therapy and stuff that helped me as well. So I just felt like it was really nice to be around friends and make friends and like see that there's so much more out there, and I really needed that. So like that was good for me. But I was going out. I invited a bunch of people over. Just really not I've never had like a big group of friends. I've always had like multiple friends from like that don't know each other. Like so I invited a group of one of my guy friends over. There was like 3 of them that I was friends with. And then another 3 guys that I was friends with. And then like I think my roommates who were all girls were coming as well, and then a couple of my other girlfriends, like one that I was really close to at this time. And then that girl, her boyfriend, and her sister. So we all went out. And I was, let me tell you, by the time we got to the bar, because we pre-gamed at my apartment, by the time we got to the bar, also, let me just remind you that this was like 2 weeks, probably 3 weeks after my breakup. Like it was very soon after, like after the initial me being laying in bed and not eating for a few weeks. This was pretty soon after my breakup. So it was like fresh. I was not focused on anything but like trying to forget about the breakup. And maybe that's unhealthy. I'm sure it is in some way, but I got through it, okay? So by the time I got to the bar with everyone, and it was like me and like 10 other people, I was wasted out of my mind already. I had no idea what was going on. And so we were at this bar for a little bit. It was just like this little Irish bar and that we went to all the time. And I then was like, oh, what the heck? Like some of my friends were going over here and some of my friends were going over here, whatever, do what you want. And then me and my friend and then like my roommates, so it was like probably me and like 4 other girls, we were like, let's go to the next bar. And my friend that I was with told me that that group of friends, the one that I was previously talking about, this girl, her boyfriend, and her sister that came, went outside to get an Uber and go home because they wanted to leave. And I was like, okay, I trusted that. What was I going to do? Be like, no, they didn't. She told me that they told her they were going to get an Uber and they went outside to wait for the Uber. So I was like, oh, let's go to the next bar. So we all go to the next bar. And then all of a sudden I get this text from my friend. And apparently they weren't getting an Uber and leaving. I don't know. I was so confused. I was like, what? So where did this information come from that I was told and relayed? And also, I don't understand how that's my fault because sorry that I trusted my friend that she was telling me correct information. So we were going to the next bar and she texts me, I can't believe you would leave us like that. Like, I cannot believe you would leave us at this bar. That is so rude. You literally walked right past us. And I was like, wait, I'm so confused. Why are you mad? My friend just told me that you guys left out and were waiting outside for your Uber. And I didn't see them. I was also drunk, so I probably wasn't seeing nothing. I wasn't seeing anything at that point. I did not see them at all when we were going to the next bar. She's like, you literally walked right past us. I can't believe this. Like, she literally hated me. She was pissed off at me. She's like, I can't believe you would leave us. As if like I left her alone and like she was in the bar alone. She was with her boyfriend and her sister. I didn't think that would be a big deal. I was like, wait, first of all, I'm confused. I thought you were leaving and getting an Uber. And second of all, you're with your boyfriend and your sister. You guys can come to the bar with us. Like, we're going to this bar next if you want to come. No. She was pissed. She's like, no, we're leaving now. I can't believe you just did that. I can't believe you just left us. And I don't know. I guess it was because I wasn't like paying super close attention to them or her. I don't know. But I had a bunch of friends that were all coming out. It was a big group of people. So it's not like I could just specifically like hone in on one of my friends. Like, I wanted to be with everyone. So that's what I did. And she was pissed. I feel like there was an underlying reason that she was so mad. And I don't know if I explained that like well, if you guys understand what was happening. But I still to this day, she was so mad at me. And I was like, actually getting so annoyed that she was so mad at me that I was like, what the hell is your problem? I don't understand why you're so mad. And I was obviously drunk, so like that pissed me off so bad. I was like, I didn't do anything wrong. I was told that you were getting an Uber and leaving with your boyfriend and your sister, and you freaked out on me for going to the next bar with my friends when I was under the impression that you were leaving in the first place. Obviously, you guys can come. Like, I literally am inviting you. She's like, I can't believe you didn't text us and check up on us. I was like, I'm not texting anyone. I'm not checking up on anyone, girl. I ain't on my phone. I'm trying to get over this breakup. Like, maybe that's selfish to say, but I was going through it. Like, I needed friends around me, like a lot of friends. I needed to be around a lot of people and like people that I loved. And even if I didn't love them, like people that I just maybe made friends with. And I just needed to be around people because I was literally going through it and she knew how much I was going through it. And then, like, after that, we literally didn't talk really for like months because of that. And that was like really hard because I was going through the thick of my breakup and it was such a hard thing to go through. And then to have that thrown on top of me going through a breakup, like, I thought it was really, at the time, I thought it was really selfish of her because I was like, girl, you know how hard of a time I'm going through. And for you to like create this situation and basically freak out on me for what it feels like no reason is crazy. And I can't deal with that negativity right now because I already have so much negativity right now and I'm trying to work on myself. And maybe that sounds selfish, but like I was trying to get my head right so I didn't end it all. But I don't know. I don't know if I explained that right, but genuinely, that still to this day like makes me a little like, that was so messed up because if it were like reversed, I just think I wouldn't act that way in that situation and I would be there for my friend that was going through a really tough breakup, you know? But I don't know, to each their own, I guess. We're friends and we kind of made up like a few months after that, but I did tell her like, hey, it was really hard that you kind of exiled me out of your life just because of this one scenario. And then at that time, I really needed you. Like, she was one of my closest friends at the time, and I really needed her at that time. I felt like I needed my closest friends during one of the hardest times of my life. Like, genuinely, that was such a hard time in my life. And it wasn't even just the breakup, but I was just in a mentally really bad place even before that breakup. So if you know, you know. If you get it, you get it. But I'm not going to keep explaining myself because I'm just going around in circles. I just wanted to tell you guys that story because this just reminded me of it for some reason. I don't know why. But you guys know, I always like spiral into something different. Anyways, yeah, that was my story time of the day. I'm not good at telling stories. I'm like, and this person, but I don't want to say names. I guess I could make up names, but then that would confuse me. So, anyways, let me know. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I love you guys to the moon and back. Let me know if you guys want any other themed episodes, like what kind of themed episodes you would like. I would love to hear it, and I hope you enjoyed this episode. I'll talk to you in the next episode of the Storytime Society. Love you. Bye.